assistant referee, Robin Byrne. The second assistant referee, Robin Collins. The fourth official, Christian Tillotson. And the teams, Northern Ireland, number 8, Captain Paul Hillen. Number 9, Patrick Kulinski. Number 12, Sean McGinney. Number 14, Ian McKay. Number 20, Ruben Wall. Number 28, Ryan Foster. The head coach, Michael Hillen, and his assistant, Eric Kulinski. And Marina Lupari. And for Belgium, number 8, Jan Gensch. Number 5, Robin Giordaniso. Number 6, Benny Ferrimore. Number 7, Elvis Mongongo. Number 10, Thiago Monod. Number 12, Gabriel Skutnik. Number 14, Lucas Moreau. Number 15, Florian Deschamps. And the head coach, Robin Collot, and his assistants, Seth Elia, Michel Hermant, David Ferry, and Patricia Nicola. Thank you very much. I'm heading over to Streety.
We close day 3 of the 2025 EPFA Nations Cup with a fixture that could prove decisive in Group A. France are already safely through to the semi-finals, but the second and final spot is still to be claimed, and it may come down to this: Northern Ireland versus Belgium. Northern Ireland have been one of the most exciting stories of the competition so far. They stunned everyone on the opening day by taking the lead against world champions France, showing no fear on the biggest stage. And while the world champions came back to win, that moment gave Northern Ireland belief. They carried that confidence into their second match, producing a sensational 6-0 win over Germany. Ruben Walls, the standout, who dictated the play. Carl Forster was ruthless in front of goal, registering a hat-trick on his international debut in a major competition. And Ethan McCabe provided composure and drive. I'd love to compliment the role in which Scott Hillen played, but he had very little involvement, which is a testament to the players around him. For such a young squad, it was a statement victory, and it puts them firmly in contention for a semi-final place. Belgium, meanwhile, have been quietly effective after missing the last Nations Cup in 2019. They've returned with determination to establish themselves among Europe's elite. A 2-0 win over Germany in their opener was followed by a tight, tense 2-0 victory against Spain, with Iago Cordron and Elvis Bonkongu making the difference. It hasn't been flashy, but Belgium have shown resilience, organisation, and an ability to capitalise when it matters. The bigger picture makes this game so fascinating. Belgium finish their group campaign against France tomorrow, truly the toughest test of all. Northern Ireland, by contrast, end against Spain, who are still searching for their first point at this level. On paper, the momentum swings towards Northern Ireland if they can get something here, but tonight's result will shape everything. So here it is. France are through, Germany and Spain are struggling, and this could be the head-to-head that decides second place. Northern Ireland, they're young, fearless, and full of energy against Belgium. Organised, experienced, and desperate to prove they belong back at the top. My name is Ryan Sipple, and joining me once again is Greg Baxter for the action live here in Lignano Sabbiadoro.
Ryan, you and I have had this fixture penciled in for many a week now as one we were really looking forward to watch. We knew that it could have the potential to decide that all-important second semi-final spot and the automatic place in Argentina next year for the World Cup. And so it seems to prove. Belgium yet to really hit the levels we have expected from them, managing to get wins without playing any sort of flashy football that we have come to expect from them, especially with two middle pivots with the quality of Florian Lechantre and Ilian Genk. For Northern Ireland, well, this has been a real coming-of-age tournament for this young squad. Such inexperience at this level, but it has not shown one bit. They took on the world champs France and they took the game to them with no fear whatsoever. Yes, they lost in the end, but that would have given them real confidence, and you saw that with their dismantling of Germany. Ruben Walls, the architect, Kyle Forster, the finisher, and they will feel a real wave of confidence heading into this all-important game. Belgium need to raise their level. Northern Ireland need to just continue what they're doing. This is going to be a close, tight-fought 40 minutes of Power Jet football, Ryan.
That it certainly will. Let's go through the squads. Northern Ireland in green, their goalkeeper in white. They line up with Scott Hilland, Ethan McCabe, Ruben Walls, and Bartek Kuszkowski. On the substitute bench is Patrick Comiskey, Sean McKinney, and the hat-trick hero in that Germany win, Kyle Forster. And for Belgium, very familiar setup sees Florian Lechantre adorn that yellow goalkeeper jersey. His outfield teammate in black with accents of red has Ilian Genk, Elvis Bonkongu, and Iago Cordron. Their substitutes, Robin Fiordaliso, Mele Kerimov, Gabriel Skutnik, and Lucas Maru. And whilst Florian Lechantre does adorn that goalkeeper jersey, expect him to play in the centre. That's certainly how they've lined up thus far. But I would struggle to predict this just based on relative form of performances. I would probably favour Northern Ireland in this one. What they showed in that opener against France and what they did against Germany surely has them a slight edge in momentum. Belgium, in comparison, struggled a little bit against the Germans. They needed 2 own goals to separate that tie, struggling to create in open play. I think that's been the reoccurring theme across their competition, and I would probably say it was more Spanish mistakes rather than well-worked opportunities, but that doesn't matter. 2 wins from 2, you can't ask for much more. And now in this crunch game, which will almost certainly decide the outcome of Group A, who will it be? The young, hungry Northern Ireland or the experienced Belgium? The officials for this one in the centre, someone I deem the best official on the planet, Steve Crump. He is complemented by Robbie Byrne and Nordin Subovic, the 4th official, Niels Christiansen Simonsen.
Yeah, I echo that opinion of Steve Crump. Excellent referee. He respects the players. He respects the passion that they play with. He respects the power chair football, and that's what makes him such a good referee. So, Big Steve will be taking charge of this one, and he will give it the best performance he can, because every time he steps onto the court, he delivers, allowing the game to flow. That's what he wants to do. We want to see football, and that is what every referee across this tournament so far has done, looking to play advantage. Must give credit to that refereeing group for that, allowing us to enjoy what has been 3 days of really high octane power chair football. And the great news is we're only halfway through.
Yeah, I think it's right to highlight that. When the officiating is brought into question, it tends to take the headlines. If we as commentators and the coaches and the fans have little to say about the officiating performances at the conclusion of games, they've more often than not done a really good job. It's certainly not a role that I would put myself in, almost a thankless task at times, but they are so important. And yes, they have let the football shine in this competition, so full credit to them, but they will have a job on their hands here, because knowing what's at stake, knowing what's on the line, this could be really fiery. Essentially, the winner will take the second semi-final spot in Group A, and maybe more significantly book their spot to Argentina. Northern Ireland were lucky to get to Sydney. They had to really fight for it, but now with 4 or 5 years experience under their belts, they could go into that competition, should they qualify, as real challengers, because it gives another year of development to their young players. Ruben Walls, Bartek Krzyzkowski, Ethan McKay, Pat Comiskey and Carl Forster. It's got such an exciting core for the future, and that is complemented by the likes of Scott Hilland, experienced and know how to do it at the top level.
We were so impressed with Northern Ireland in Sydney, as we have been here, and what really excites me is the fact that in Sydney there was no Ethan McCabe and there was no Ruben Walls. So give them another year of development.
Carl Forster as well.
Yeah, Carl Forster wasn't there. Give them another year of development, and you add in the quality they possess. They'll be a team that no one wants to face. Belgium will be wanting to book their place in Argentina. I think that would be really significant for them, more so than a semi-final spot here. Belgium at a World Cup would be massive for them.
Yeah, I agree. Having watched them breeze through their European opposition at the EPFA Cup 2022, I had real high hopes for them coming into this one. They haven't necessarily clicked, relatively speaking, but I think that's more a testament to the level of football we're seeing. I'm not overly familiar with the landscape in Belgium. I know a lot of their players travel to France to expose themselves to a higher level of domestic football. And I know one of their star players from that EPFA Cup 2022 in Raneri, Leandro Sotobrienco, isn't present. I'd like to understand that decision, whether he's taken a decision to step away from the sport. But what is important that is if either of these two qualify for the World Cup, and it's still possible that both make it. Remember, the first and second finishers in Group A and Group B, yes, they earn their ticket to South America and the semi-finals, but then we will observe almost a comparably excitable finish and conclusion to the playoffs, where third from Group A will play fourth in Group B, third in Group B will play fourth in Group A, and then the winner of those two ties will fight for one final ticket. That is a game I am so looking forward to, and I don't even know who will comprise it as of yet.
Arguably, I'm more looking forward to that game than I am any potential final, just because of how much is at stake in that game.
So our teams are lined up. We are seconds away. Ethan McCabe will play in the centre as suspected. Florian Lechantre likewise for Belgium. Elvis Bonkongu and Iago Cordron both off the mark in terms of goal scoring. The same can be applied for Kuszkowski and Walls. So their wingers are in form and have some momentum behind them. Can they make it count? Ruben Walls is going to force his way up the court. Something they utilised so perfectly yesterday was their utilisation of set pieces. Ruben Walls' accuracy and power just proved the better of Germany, and he looks to feed that ball through the Belgian defence. Ethan McCabe, slightly too much power. We spoke about that in the early game between Ireland and Italy. Sometimes you need to take a little bit of pace off of it, because Ruben Walls wasn't set there.
Yeah, soft touch sometimes required. We'll see if Ruben Walls can find the gap here in the Belgian wall.
Yeah.
Got to be some effort if he is to do it.
Keep an eye on Bartek Kuszkowski as Elvis Bonkongu is going to break away. I don't think it'll be too much pressure for Scott Hilland, who just strangely pushes it into the centre. I would have rather he controlled that. And you can see what that decision has done. 2-on-1 awarded against Northern Ireland. They just need to be a little bit more assured in their defensive actions and not give away these needless 2-on-1s, which we've seen nations really struggle with across the competition. More importantly, we've seen teams punished as Lechantre is going to shape up into Elvis Bonkongu, looking for Iago Cordron. It was a nice routine. You can see what they wanted to do on that occasion. Scott Hilland is happy to see it wide of his right post.
Yeah, fast start to this game as we expected. Both sides having early set pieces. Hilland intercepted by Genk. Cordron now battling with McCabe. Can Genk fire it over to this far side? The pass was never on there.
It wasn't, but credit to Ethan McCabe for just persistently pressing, and that is the right decision from Steve Crum. He was just drawn to that ball and trapped the ball between himself and Florian Lechantre. He's just given a ticking off from Steve Crum. Bartek Kuszkowski is going to get his first real involvement and the task of trying to bypass Ilian Genk. Nicely taken by Ruben Walls. He's not going to be able to get the arc or the rotation of that ball because Florian Lechantre is too experienced. Relatively speaking, it's a slower pace than that of that Italy-Ireland decider we witnessed earlier. But this is so cagey. I can only imagine the level of nerves that these players have. Certainly those young players in Northern Ireland stepping up to this level for the very first time. The weight of a nation expecting you to go on and do good things, as Elvis Bonkongu can't wrap his chair around the ball. So Bartek Kuszkowski down the wing. I'd like to have seen Ethan McCabe just push that straight back into the path of his number 2 winger, but opts to engage it. And now the whole team rotate with Kuszkowski on the edge.
Yeah, if Lechantre's going to go out of the box there to get the ball, he's got to tell Ilian Genk. It's been a physical start to this game. We know Belgium aren't afraid for physicality in a game.
Interestingly, they're opting for Ethan McCabe on this as opposed to Ruben Walls. I can only imagine that he is the intended target to line up on the 180. He can generate so much power. His timing has been perfect in this tournament. Will they do that? It does go into his 180, not before. 2-on-1 is awarded for Belgium. That's frustrating because they were so compact. You can see the intent. On that occasion, it doesn't come off.
Steve Crump, part-time handyman, part-time referee. Fixes the tape on the edge of the penalty box. Genk down to Lechantre. To Cordron, back towards Ilian Genk. Ruben Walls pressing in on Belgian's second pivot as he drives away. Met by Kuszkowski.
those initial goal kicks into the central player, the angling of Lechante's chair of pass there wasn't great. And I know it didn't put them under any pressure, but the angling always needs to be towards the opposition goal, so you've got momentum in your favour. Caudron had to come back there, which halted any and all momentum he had gathered, something they're going to want to ensure as the game continues. Heavy contact from Kuszkowski, who swipes into it. The right decision from Steve Crump there, careless from the Northern Ireland number 2, and a contact foul gifts Ilian Genk and Belgium a direct free kick, and a really dangerous opportunity at that. Keep an eye on Iago Caudron, but with it being direct, it almost completely splits the two Northern Ireland defenders into Bonkongu. He gets the connection, there's a nice routine, and it trickles over the line. You can see the frustration of the Northern Ireland coaches. It began with a needless free kick to begin with, and Elvis Bonkongu and Ilian Genk combining on the edge. That's much better from them. You're seeing it here. The first attempt saved, and it created that space at the left-hand post. Scott Helling will be disappointed he wasn't able to get to it in time.
Yes, disappointing for Scott Helling there. He's turned around on the goal line, and because he's done that, he's lost his momentum. If he'd have stayed in reverse the entire time, he'd have saved that easily, you feel. Belgium grab a lead, and now we see a real test of this young Northern Ireland squad's character.
Yeah, absolutely, we will. They had the lion's share of possession and attacking intent prior to that, so I hope they take positives and look to pick up where they left off. It's just fired off the back wheel of Florian Lechantre.
It will be a kick in, not a corner.
Kuszkowski to Ethan McCabe. Again, I'd like to see Ethan McCabe just work on the pace and the power of them passes, and whilst it was an opportunity, just taking 10% off it would have given Kuszkowski a little bit more time to set. It may be overly critical, but those fine margins is often what makes the good players great, and that was lovely play from Kuszkowski to just angle his chair and keep ball in his possession.
Tell you what, nearly snuck in at that near post, didn't it?
It did. I thought it had actually left the court prior to it hitting, but again, it's such fine margins. He's getting his sharpness, his connection in, Bartek Kuszkowski. He is a real goal scorer. Ethan McCabe into Kuszkowski, who was never really shaped to pass it back to McCabe, but also the wall of Belgian defenders ensured that Ruben Walls was never an option, and now they're going to resort back to a more familiar setup. But Ethan McCabe very deep. He's just being called forward by Ruben Walls. He's going to turn it and engage it in the 180. The gap wasn't there. That's a solid Belgian defence, and it needs an Elvis Bonkongu touch to take it out of Ruben Walls' path.
Flurry of kick-ins here for Northern Ireland. I'd like to see him try and do something different. He's tried it down the line a few times. There's no way a direct ball can get through to Kuszkowski.
No, that's the angling of Bonkongu, who is just cutting up this passing lane. Great work from the Belgian number 7. Just out of ideas slightly as we approach the midway water break. There is a gap there at present. That Florian Lechantre is constantly trying to move forwards and backwards to confuse Ruben Walls, and a corner might just switch things up as Ethan McCabe takes a position in the box.
We've seen Belgium use this technique, not having the goalkeeper behind the line, instead starting at the 5 metre mark. It does leave a gap at that near post though, Ryan.
It certainly does. So Ethan McCabe may be the target with his front bumper, but I suspect Ilian Genk will turn to his left to restrict it as soon as the ball's taken. He actually reverses the other way, but still covers it. It's good defence from Belgium, you have to say.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't enough pace on that ball from Ruben Wald, which is not often we say that, but if you're going to try and get it in that near post, it has to be rapid. It has to be in at that near post. That time the accuracy and the power wasn't quite there.
One thing that we need to note is this Belgian defence has not been tested at all this competition. In their 2 victories over Spain and Germany, I don't think Ilian Genk, as the most defensive of the 4 players, had little to nothing to do in goal. So this will test them, and this will provide the perfect foundation for them to face France tomorrow. But overall, I would say a cagey first 10 minutes. But Belgium do have that all-important lead, which puts them on to 9 points. And with France having a far superior goal difference, they've all but mathematically wrapped up top spot. And of course, before they meet France tomorrow, it would be mathematically impossible for anyone to catch them. So that's just how big this game is. If Northern Ireland can reverse this scoreline in their favour, they would go level on points with Belgium, but due to the opposition in which both face tomorrow, you would put momentum into Northern Ireland's corner, but they have to do something here. They have to make these chances count. He's just the great disruptor, isn't he, Elvis Bonkongu, or certainly has been in this game. Ethan McCabe and Ruben Walls just communicating with one another as to how to best engage this. Goes into Ruben Walls, he's engaged by Ilian Genk. A little bit of contact from Genk. So cagey between the two. That battle between McCabe and Ilian Genk epitomises the wider context and the wider matchup. Ruben Walls. Just always trying to put his chair in line with that ball, because Belgium are being brave here, committing those 2 wingers high and wide forward. They're out of shot currently, but they're not sitting on this 1-0 scoreline. They want to inflict further damage and completely wrap up their semi-final status and their World Cup ticket. Into Iago Cordron. Didn't enter the court, so Northern Ireland with the kick in.
You always knew it was going to come down to these two, didn't you? And this game, 2 wins each. You'd feel, obviously Northern Ireland yet to play Spain against Germany and Spain, with no disrespect to those 2 nations. Then a loss against France each. It would be this game and this game alone that would decide who booked an automatic spot in Argentina. A draw probably favours Northern Ireland, looking at goal difference. Belgium, with this 1-0 advantage, just doing enough at the minute. They are having to repel a lot of Northern Ireland pressure, as you'd expect, but they are up to the test so far.
Yeah, nothing has really troubled them. 14 and a half minutes in, maybe a chance here. You can see Ruben Walls primed and ready to engage, but as has been the case all game, they just cannot restrict Elvis Bonkongu. If they're going to have success, they're going to need to bypass him. Iago Quadron's going to press this one on the edge of the box. Been very stop-start, which is playing into the Belgians' hands, because Northern Ireland cannot get any real momentum. That took a really important touch off Quadron there, otherwise he would have lined up perfectly to Bartek Kuszkowski's 180.
Kuszkowski couldn't get out of the way either to let it go out for a corner. So, kick in for Belgium deep in their own territory. Lechantre into Genk.
Lechantre has to be careful, left that goal completely open as he pursued that ball, and it doesn't amount to anything, but he didn't give Ilian Genk any time to get back and cover as the most defensive of the 4 Belgian players. And that's a little bit wayward. And you can see the sign of frustration on Genk's face.
Is it fair to say, Ryan, there's been a lack of quality and cutting edge in the final third for both teams?
Yeah, potentially so, but we've come off the back of Ireland-Italy, which was free-flowing and attacking. Before that, we saw France completely dismantle their opponents, Germany. So we've seen success, we've seen proficiency, and I think our assessment is relative to what we've already witnessed. But it's without question, Northern Ireland need to do more than they currently are if they're to get back in this game. Just hasn't clicked, and nothing's made its way through and past the first player. Typically Florian Lechantre, two clearances in almost as many seconds as a few players were drawn towards that. Bonkongu just about vacating the space.
From Ruben Walls there, that's got to just use the corner, that front bumper to get it over to Kuszkowski. Lechantre brings it forward, met by Kuszkowski. Those two battling, but it will be a kick in to Belgium. 2.5 minutes left of normal time in this first half. Still Northern Ireland 0, Belgium 1. Genk, Bukongo exchanging passes. Scott Elland can cut that one out. Kuszkowski turns, is met by Quadron. Bukongo takes a touch.
Some rare territory in that final third for Belgium. They don't make it count, but that does ensure that it's away from Florian Lechantre in the Belgian goal. I think if there was a heat map as to the ball's possession and placement, it would be very much, I would suspect 70–80% in that Belgian defensive half. Red Foxes have only had one chance themselves, but they made it count as the ball is fired high. Even if that goes over the line, it won't count as a goal due to the connection pushing it over the bumper of Florian Lechantre, and we are approaching the final minute of regulation time in this first half. The final game of day 3. We have another jam-packed schedule tomorrow, kick-starting with Scotland and Ireland. I apologise. Spain versus Germany. Losing track of days here. Ethan McCabe. He's trying to find Kuszkowski, but just prevented by Ilian Genk.
Credit to Belgium is how quiet Ruben Walls has been kept. And Ethan McCabe. You saw how they combined to devastating effect against Germany. One last chance here, possibly.
Yeah, Ruben Walls, the clear intended target. Ethan McCabe needs to disguise his intention as he does go for Krzyzkowski in the end.
Encroachment there from Iago Cordran. Not 5 meters, so the ball will be moved closer to the edge of the box.
This is a better angle, I think. He has the option of Bartek Krzyzkowski, but I would suspect that that wall will be stacked up by Florian Lechantre and Ilian Genk. Ruben Walls unopposed in the box, has an attempt, takes all the pace off it, which I actually like, but Ilian Genk was alert to the opportunity.
Brought back for a 2-on-1 in favour of Belgium. Krzyzkowski and Walls too close as we're in the additional time. There'll of course be the minute that was used by the water break. That'll be added on, plus any additional time. There's not been too many stoppages.
It's been very stop-start, but not necessarily stoppages. Have to reiterate, 3 points for Belgium would see them secure and wrap up qualification to the semi-finals. So Northern Ireland would have to fight for that 5th place ticket to Buenos Aires, Argentina. What can be confirmed between this game and next would have to go into a 2-game playoff against the other best teams that fall short of the semi-finals. So I cannot emphasise how important this game is for Northern Ireland and Belgium for that matter. Half-time here in Lignano, and it's Belgium who take a narrow 1-0 lead into the break. The goal came early, a free kick gifted in a dangerous position, and Ilian Genk was on hand to convert, giving Belgium the perfect start after just 6 minutes. Since then, Northern Ireland have actually been the more attacking side. They've moved the ball with intent, pushed higher up the court and created pressure in the final third, but they just haven't been able to turn those opportunities into clear chances. For Belgium, it's been about discipline and disruption. Elvis Bonkongu in particular has been outstanding at breaking up play, cutting off Northern Ireland's rhythm and ensuring they haven't been able to build the kind of fluency we saw in that 6-0 win over Germany. It remains tense, it remains close, and everything is on the line in this battle for a semi-final spot. The second half promises to be fascinating. We're ready to get back underway in what has been exactly the kind of cagey battle we expected, given what's at stake. Belgium edged in front early through Ilian Genk's free kick routine, but since then it's been a real tussle with neither side able to take full control. Northern Ireland have pushed forward with purpose, but haven't quite found the cutting edge to make their pressure count. Belgium, for their part, stayed organised and disruptive, effectively breaking things up. With a semi-final spot in Group A on the line, it's tense, it's tight, and this second half could come down to just one or two decisive moments. It looks as if who I deemed the player of the first half, Elvis Bonkongu, has come off. In his place, it'll be Robin Fiordaliso. I'm notorious for curse of the commentator, but that's an interesting decision. When I hype a player up, they typically seem to be ripped off at half-time. It was the case in the Italy matchup with Ireland, with Giovanni Barbe Capra. But I was so impressed with Elvis Bonkongu. Yes, there was no real attacking intent, but he completely frustrated Northern Ireland as Florian Lechantre, obviously a well-worked routine they go through, he fired it straight into Ethan McCabe and immediately pressured by Iago Caudron.
Yeah, maybe they want to tweak something, Belgium. It's of course they who have the ascendancy. It is them who, as it stands, are booking their place on the plane to Argentina. As Iago Caudron, well cut out by McCabe, and Caudron goes in too hard. Will be a direct free kick to Northern Ireland. I say direct as if they're going to somehow shoot from this line. You never know, stranger things have happened. Northern Ireland are the ones that need to change something, that need to force the issue.
Steve Crum just calming down proceedings, having a word with Ruben Walls. There was some contact off the ball. He's just going to need an adjustment with his chair as he comes over to the technical staff of Northern Ireland. I think he just needs an adjustment in his chair, so he should be fine to continue. Likewise, gives Robin Caudron a chance to ensure Robin Fiordaliso is as comfortable as possible to play his football.
I think this is great sportsmanship. Sorry to interrupt you there. Both Florian Lechantre and Ilian Genk went over to Ruben Walls there to ask if he was okay. At the heart of it, our sport is still a community. We saw it earlier in the France-Germany game. France just put 10 past Germany. The fans turned and clapped each other after the game because they were making a complete and utter racket.
I highlighted it earlier that these competitions are about so much more than the football you see on the court. It's a coming together of different nations and cultures, players and people, and it's a true celebration. So I completely agree. Sportsmanship always at the forefront of most people's minds. Yes, tempers flare. Yes, people are here to win, compete. But when the final whistle is blown, everyone pretty much communicates and talks to everyone else. It is a true community as Robin Fiordaliso into the box of Northern Ireland. A wild swing there from Ilian Genk. I don't suspect Michael Hilland will look to his substitutes. All the while it remains 1-0 and or competitive.
just thinking at what point does he look to Carl Forster perhaps?
No, I think quite the opposite. I think he will start the game with this 4 and end the game with this 4 if it remains this close. There's a potential break here for Iago Quadron. Doesn't get it on the first or second chance, but on the third one it falls so kindly to him. Ethan McCabe and Scott Hilland crashing into one another to restrict the first few opportunities, but the persistence of Iago Quadron was rewarded. You're seeing the replay. The first effort saved, the second effort saved, and it took a really horrible deflection over the line. Northern Ireland 0, Belgium 2.
Yeah, initially just comes from a bit of a sloppy play from Northern Ireland. Ball took a deflection off a Northern Ireland front of the chair, so Scott Hilland had to come out his box and claim it, but then he ended up giving it back to Belgium and he had to get into the box. A bit of panic ensued between Ethan McCabe and Scott Hilland as Northern Ireland now start to play 4 out because they know they have to go for it. Brilliant play. Ruben Walls shot, almost found a gap out the near post. Ruben Walls again at the near post, and what a goal that is for young Ruben Walls. He immediately gets Northern Ireland back into the game. He tried it the first time, nearly found the gap. That time he made no mistake, and Northern Ireland immediately answer back. They are still in this game, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely they are. What a fantastic, well-worked opportunity. It stemmed from that 4-out passage of play. They maybe could have utilised it sooner. The real question now will be, does Scott Hilland contribute in attack? With that goal score being just 1, but absolutely Ruben Walls, despite his relative inexperience, carrying his nation forward. And with so much time left on the clock, maybe that is the catalyst that will push Northern Ireland on to be a little bit more effective, a little bit more proficient and accurate in their attacking play. We have a real game on our hands.
Yeah, you saw they pushed forward there, needing goals. Immediately, the 4-out system produces for Northern Ireland. That is the best passage of play they have had all game, and it has resulted in a goal. A fantastic finish from Ruben Walls. Brilliantly recycled as well by the entire team. Guskowski battling with Genk.
As I suspected, Scott Hilland really reluctant to leave the confines of his area. That goal came from his contribution, if not in direct involvement in drawing different Belgian players out of their positions, and that's better. But there's so much on the line here that I can understand the hesitance. Kuszkowski, very condensed. Ethan McCabe and Ruben Walls very close to one another. One of them has to drop off, which they do. Goes all the way to Robin Fiordaliso, who hasn't had a great deal to do since his introduction. Ruben Walls completely unaware as to the advancements of Ethan McCabe. And Belgium escape with a kick in. Robin Fiordaliso. Ruben Walls feints to engage. Brazilian Genk continues to trickle down into the Belgian half. Quadron with no real direction. Ruben Walls going to chase that. Robin Fiordaliso, should he be set away, is in so much space on that left-hand wing. Ethan McCabe happy to let Ruben Walls take the responsibility as winger and central player almost. Sensible just to hit the reset button.
initial feint. I would have loved to have seen him play the pass out to Kuszkowski instead. Took it into the dribble. That's not going to work for Northern Ireland. They need to keep up the intensity. They seize the initiative back from Belgium. They've almost let Belgium come back into this.
It's a strange decision for Kuszkowski. One minute out from the midway water break. Florian Lechantre, I think, just needs an adjustment with something. I think people have to take into consideration the conditions in which we're playing, and it is so hot and humid here in Italy. There is many chairs that are overheating and stopping, and Steve Crump just points to his watch to let the Northern Ireland squad know that this won't count.
Scott Hillen took the opportunity there to call his troops over and say, look, 10 minutes, keep going, boys.
Yeah, a great leader. I've said it before, he is the experience in the inexperienced team. But they'll have an opportunity to reset at the water break, but I would almost definitely back the assessment that Michael Hilland won't look to his substitute bench all the while it's this close. Ruben Walls, surely the last opportunity prior to that short break. Down to Kuszkowski. He surely needs to be picking that off back to Ruben Walls, because Caudron have done brilliantly to restrict the space, and that Belgian wall, as it has done all game, is just so solid.
Belgium will take all the time they can. Lechantre, it comes to Walls. His pass straight back to Lechantre. It's a bit of a waste there. As we hit that water break, 10 minutes or so left in this one. Michael Hilland just telling him decide to calm down. Scott Hilland asking if they want him to push forward a little bit more. It will get to that point very, very soon.
At what point, though? If you look at that clock, 31.5 minutes. We play to 41 at a minimum. Do you do it now? Do you do it with 5 minutes to go?
I was thinking 36.
Yeah, I can understand it. And committing Scott Hilland forward will inevitably lead to vulnerabilities in behind, but the only real success they've had of the game is when he played that role. So it is a real risk. I understand that you're seeing the replay of the goal, which saw Belgium go 2-0 up. Desperate defending that from Ethan McCabe. And Scott Hilland, as Steve Crump calls them back out onto the court. The final 10 minutes of football here on day 3 at the 2025 EPFA Nations Cup. The schedule in full for tomorrow: Spain, Germany, Scotland, Denmark, France, Belgium, England, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Spain, and Italy versus Scotland.
From Belgium point of view, you are 10 minutes away from booking your spot at a World Cup and a place in the semi-finals, where you would imagine they would face off against England, the defending champions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's mathematically assured, I think, if Belgium go on to get 3 points here.
Yes, I was trying to do the mental arithmetic in my head in Group B.
Yeah, Group B, England, 3 wins from 3, so they're on 9 points. No one can catch them up.
Yeah, sewn up top spot.
So the top spot is there, so they will play whoever finishes second in Group And it would need France to lose tomorrow to Belgium and them to reverse a really comprehensive goal difference if Belgium were to top the group. Never say never, but very unlikely. So, but
No, surely a Belgium win tomorrow, that puts them on 12. France would only be on 9.
of course it does. I apologise. And I suspect France will alter and change things up. But they did that in their win earlier today against Germany and were just as effective.
Yeah. I think it shows how competitive Group B has been, that one team on 9 points have locked up top spot, whereas assuming Belgium win this game, there'll be 2 teams on 9 points.
Whether or not the change will be made, it looks as if Pat Comiskey is getting some instructions on that bench. We're fast approaching that 36th minute, Greg, and Scott Hillen still rooted to his box. There is calls for him to go all out.
It's gonna now or never, really, isn't it, for Northern Ireland? Yes, they'll have the playoff, but they don't want the pressure of that. They want the semi-final spot, knowing they already have booked their place in Argentina.
It's a lot of responsibility and pressure for young Pat Comiskey, who's going to enter this pressure cooker. It will be Ethan McCabe coming off, so I wonder whether that shifts Ruben Walsh to the centre. Doesn't look like that will be the case. It will be Pat Comiskey coming in to pair with Scott Hilland. Look at how many players Belgium have committed forward.
Are they aware that they're a win?
Yeah, very unnecessary. There's a potential break on if Kuszkowski can get it into Ruben Walls.
He chose to dribble instead. Battling with Genk, who keeps the ball in, wins his side the kick in. Surely you think there are 6 minutes left in this game. Le Chantre, that'll do for Belgium.
Yeah,
Northern Ireland have got to force the issue now. Ruben Walls cuts inside. Ilian Genk has no idea Le Chantre's behind him. 2-on-1. Le Chantre was screaming at Genk that he was behind him.
36 minutes, almost exactly, Mr. Baxter. Scott Hilland is up the court to the right of your screen. He's actually going to have responsibility of this, which I appreciate.
Sometimes I know what I'm talking about.
The accuracy will be important. Look how condensed that Northern Ireland attack is. A 2-on-1 will almost be inevitable if they don't push into their own areas. Goes all the way through, disappointed, but Ruben Walls couldn't engage that space because it would have been a 2-on-1. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yep. Had to just try something. Knew if it went in, he went in, it would be a guaranteed free kick. Comiskey gets turned by Genk. Drives Belgium forwards. Comiskey's done well to get rounded again. 5 minutes left, you think? Dribbling won't do it. Well, will it? Comiskey brings it forward. Le Chantre does well. 2-on-1 given in favour of Northern Ireland. And again, Scott Hilland will step up to take this one. They've got to keep their spacings here, Northern Ireland.
They do. And due to the angle, you would suspect Kuszkowski is probably the intended target. And the disappointing initial engagement. It was slightly rushed. The ball was still moving.
I was about to say that it's very rushed. Yes, time is running out, but you need to keep your composure and make the most of the moments that you are given. Ilian Genk cutting inside Kuszkowski. Bringing it forward. Met by Comiskey. Will be a 2-on-1. And more time drains off the clock for Belgium.
For Le Chantre to take. Cushioned into Ilian Genk. Intercepted by Ruben Walls. I think the experience has just shone through here
Yep.
for Belgium.
They're seeing this game out very well. They're managing it as they should be. Ruben Walls tries to cut inside Le Chantre. Can't do so, and here comes the Belgium goalkeeper. Will happily keep it here. He's going to force Ruben Walls to come out. Plays it off of him. That's really well done by Florian Le Chantre. Iago Caudron will take this kick. Oh no, he won't. He'll leave it for Le Chantre. Caudron will probably try and keep it in the corner. Comiskey brings it forward. 30 seconds left of normal time. Again, it's played off a Northern Ireland player for a Belgium kick-in. This suits them perfectly.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Iago Caudron to take. He does so quickly into the back wheel of Scott Hilland. Ruben Walls can't catch up to it. They are managing this game brilliantly.
As we tick over into additional time. Northern Ireland have to score. If not, it'll be Belgium who secure the automatic spot at the World Cup in Argentina and a semi-final against England. Just taps it into the contact. This is perfect for Belgium. Caudron drives towards Fiordaliso, and then a bit of miscommunication gives Northern Ireland a kick in. It has to go forward now.
That it absolutely does. Time is not on their sides, and
It's just bounced off Comiskey. Belgium will take that all day long. Fiordaliso tries to swipe, should have just kept it in the corner. He's won his side, a 2-on-1. A costly mistake from Northern Ireland.
a really good opportunity this, but you almost question why they're committing so many players forward. They have got this game wrapped up, but that shows their bravery. Iago Caudron to take into the back post, 2-on-1. The correct decision.
Was always going to be a 2-on-1 there. It's taken quickly. Ruben Walls has to drive it forward. Met by Le Chantre.
Now 42 minutes into this game. There hasn't been a great deal of stoppages. Late pressure on the Belgian goal from Ruben Walls. 2-on-1 in favour of Northern Ireland. This is it. If they're going to get anything from this game, they have to do what they've been unable to in the 42 minutes played and be effective from a set piece. It's going to be Pat Comiskey to take. I very much suspect it will be to Ruben Walls, who now has responsibility himself. So if I'm Northern Ireland, I'm using Pat Comiskey as the screen. Bartek Kuszkowski at the back post, which it is.
Got to wait for the whistle.
You do have to wait for the whistle.
Got to wait for the whistle.
So primed, so ready to go. It was the right intent, but maybe Belgium are alert to it now. As suspected, it was Bartek Kuszkowski who was the option. Now look how close Robin Fiordaliso is to him. Just trying to control this box. Steve Crump has done a brilliant job here. And this could be absolutely crucial. Belgium to weather one last storm. As Ruben Walls cushions it into Pat Comiskey, goes all, as far as Bartek Kuszkowski, but a 2-on-1 frustratingly against Northern Ireland. And that is surely it.
If you're Belgium, do you start learning Spanish? Could that be it?
Belgium continue their perfect run at the 2025 EPFA Nations Cup with a 2-1 victory over Northern Ireland, a result that books their place in the semi-finals and secures qualification for the 2026 World Cup in Argentina. Ilian Genk opened the scoring with a free kick after just 6 minutes before Iago Cordron doubled the lead early in the second half, capitalising from a set piece and a series of deflections. Ruben Walls hit back almost immediately with a sharp finish, but despite Northern Ireland's attacking intent, Belgium's organisation and resilience saw them over the line. It wasn't always fluid, but once again, Belgium proved clinical in decisive moments, showing exactly why they're back among Europe's elite. 3 wins from 3, a semi-final place, and their World Cup ticket guaranteed. For Northern Ireland, this result is a setback, but not the end. Their final group match against Spain gives them an opportunity to finish third in the group, which will put them in a more favourable playoff position on Tuesday and Wednesday. Tomorrow brings the showdown everyone's been waiting for now in Group A. Belgium against France, a clash that will decide who tops Group A and carries momentum into the knockouts. I'm going to pass to Piero for interview. Thank you to all that have tuned in today. We hope you can come back tomorrow.
All right, here we are with, I guess, you're number 6.
Yes.
Meli Kerimov.
Is that? Yes.
Do I pronounce it correct?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, good. All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
There was such a tight match.
It was.
And but you made it. How do you feel?
We feel very happy because with this win we have a place in the World Cup. So all the team is very happy, our fans are happy, everybody is happy, and we're gonna celebrate that like it's a big thing. So we are very happy and we celebrate this.
Absolutely. This is a big competition, definitely. Every one of you was looking forward, proceeding over, and you're one of the first teams who made it. So a massive congrats.
Thank you very
from
much.
me, and you definitely have to celebrate. But also don't forget to take a good rest because the tournament is still long.
It's not finished. We have other goals, so we are gonna work.
Absolutely. Again, congrats.
Thank you.
And enjoy tonight. Again, ready for tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
See you. Okay. Thanks to Mr. Kerimov. And here we have our captain back for an interview. Here we go. Scott, have you again here with us?
Yeah.
That was a beautiful game, if I may say so. It was beautiful to watch. Unfortunately, you guys didn't make it, but great effort, absolutely.
Thank you.
Tell me what you think.
Yeah, just disappointed. We had opportunities, didn't take them, and Belgium showed their quality in key moments. And we go 2-0 down, get a goal back, and we're pushing, but they managed the game well. They trap the ball in the corners, and they do what you expect them to do, which is kill the game, and they see it to win, and they qualify for the semi-final. So congratulations to them.
Yes. This was another experience, another great game. I'm sure you guys will learn from this and go on.
Yeah, big game tomorrow against Spain to finalise the group stage, and then we'll see where we are, see who we play if we're in the playoff for the World Cup. So we'll see where we are.
All right. I give you very best of luck for the game tomorrow.